Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing my Sephora sale recommendations. So I did announce on my community tab just very quickly that I unexpectedly lost my sweet little Pomeranian Winnie. I don't want to talk about it because it's going to make me emotional, so I'm just going to skip over that. But I still wanted to do this video because I have not missed a Sephora recommendations video. I can't even remember the last time. I've been steady doing these, and I know you guys rely on my honest opinions and thoughts, so I want to recommend the best of the best. Even though I'm not in the best headspace, quite frankly, I'm feeling pretty down, but it is helpful for me to do things and not just sit and think. So I'm going to keep myself busy, and I have been pulling products behind the scenes, and I want to give you my recommendations for the Sephora sale nonetheless. So thank you for all your sweet words, and I really don't want to talk about it any more than that. I appreciate all of the love, but I will be going quickly. I have a bunch of products. I'm going to focus mostly on the new or things that I feel like super strongly about. The sale dates will be on the screen and down below, so depending on what tier you are at Sephora, you get 10, 15, or 20% off. So this is the time to stock up, of course, and buy gifts or gift sets, or just try new products that you want to try. So I will link everything that I share today down below and on the screen. Somehow I'm already losing my voice. I don't know what's going on with that, but all the information will be down below. And let's go ahead and get into what I recommend for the Sephora VIP sale. Starting off with fragrance, I do have 3 fragrances and 1 body mist to mention. Now there are some that I really like, but I didn't want to mention them right now just because they're more like spring summer leaning. So I'm really going to focus on the ones that I would wear during this season. So I have to shout out Ellis Brooklyn Queen's Caramel. This is so stunning. Super, super warm, like a skin scent with that caramel hint. I like that it's not too over the top caramel, so I don't find this one to be too foodie if you don't like that. It is really, really nice and warm and cozy, very sweet without being like sickly sweet. So definitely recommend that. And then Rare Beauty, I'm surprised how much I like this. I initially sprayed this on, I think, like a piece of paper, and I wasn't feeling it until I got it on my skin. Now I will say that this smells very, very similar to Burberry Goddess, which is a favorite of mine, but I find that this really lasts longer on me than Burberry Goddess, and it seems a smidge more sweet to me. There's just something a little bit elevated about this one. Now, if you do have Burberry Goddess, I would not recommend getting this because they are so similar, but I am really impressed with this. And then Fleur. Cherry Stem really hit the mark for me. If you wanted to like Tom Ford Lost Cherry, or you feel like all of the cherry scents lean too cough syrupy, you will love this one. It has such a juicy burst of cherry, but it doesn't seem too sweet and juvenile. There's a little bit of that elevation in there while also just keeping very, very juicy overall. So 10 out of 10 on this one for a realistic cherry. And then the last one is a body spray. I love this. Here's my problem. I dropped it, and of course it's like one of my favorite ones. I dropped it and broke the sprayer. So now when I spray it out, it like spits at me like a llama. So not ideal. I was thinking about just swapping out the top for another one, but I just think this is so sweet and yummy. It has that like nectar, almost a little bit of that like Cabbage Patch sort of touch to it, if you know what I'm talking about, but very slight, but overall just very, very sweet, almost like juicy nectar, but that vanilla dry down. I think this is delicious, and it's quite unique to my collection. So these would be my top 4 that I've been reaching for, especially this time of year, although I will say that brands are really, really coming out with a ton of fragrances in my wheelhouse, like the Gourmands, the super sweet, the vanilla. I like ones that stand out or have a little bit something special, and these would be my 4 that I like the best. Moving on to primer or a base for makeup, I really only have one that's new to me, but it's not technically new. So the Extreme Cream from In Beauty Project, I think this is incredible. I know a lot of people love this. I know why. It is very, very hydrating, but has a thin texture. If you have dry skin, you will love this. But it really does just give you such a nice base for makeup, especially if you're someone like me and your skin's leaning a little bit more dry, but you still like to reach for like matte foundations. This is such a nice like dewy base underneath. It just makes your skin look very, very hydrated without being greasy. And it has a bunch of peptides. It's a retinol alternative. I like this because you can use it morning and night. So 10 out of 10 for that. And then in terms of foundations, I only had one that I really wanted to shout out, which was the Makeup by Mario foundation. So I like this more than his original foundation, and I find myself using this to mix with all of my matte foundations. It gives me a little bit of that natural finish without being greasy or heavy. I don't find it to be sticky, and I really like that it's kind of lightweight, and I think that the wear is actually pretty good on it as well. So again, I can wear it by itself, but my go-to is mixing them, and it has been the standout for me that I keep top drawer, and I've been mixing it with my matte foundations pretty much every time I do my makeup. For concealer, I don't have anything new. I have been reaching for my Tower 28. This just really gives me nice hydration. It's very thin, it's not sticky, and it plays well with powder. It also gives me a good coverage. It's just kind of like a staple for me. I do bounce around a little bit, and I will use the ABH and some other concealers, but lately this has been the one I've been reaching for. And then of course, I always have to shout out the Bobbi Brown. This is the under eye corrector. I know there's a bunch of different correctors out, and I think there's a lot of options now, but this is my go-to. I'm almost out of this one. I have the shade Light Bisque. This is just so lightweight, but good coverage for correcting. I actually use this to correct my microblading when I do my brows because I like to lift the tails of my brows. It's a whole thing, so I go through these a ton because truly I do my makeup every single day using this product. Moving on to bronzers, I have quite a few to talk about, so I'm going to be moving quickly. So the ABH Smooth Blur Contour is such a nice formula. I would say this reminds me of the LYS in a matte form. So if you like that really rich, intense pigment, ease of blend, but you don't want such an emollient or dewy formula, this is fantastic. Now it is a contour, so they're not warm shades, they're more cool, and the shade range needs a lot of work, but I have to say the formula is fabulous. An old favorite is the Say Dew Bronze. I'm wearing it today. Now this is in the color Swim. It's very, very thin. I would say it has more of a dewy finish, but because it's so thin, it sets beautifully with powder. And this formula in particular, you can really build it up. So it's actually the complete opposite of the ABH. It's just something that I use more every day. It gives me a nice warmth, so I love that. And then for ease of use, if I'm in a hurry and I don't really need, crazy sculpting, I have used this a ton. This is the Benefit Hula Wave Cream Bronzer in Original. I mean, there's a dip in here. This is just truly so easy to use. You cannot mess this up. It's not an overly pigmented formula, but you can get there if you want to. And I love that I don't have to mix on my hand or get my fingers dirty. I just dip my brush right in and I'm good to go. This is one of those that you also don't even need to set. It kind of has a similar finish to the ABH in terms of it like being more matte, but this is much more buildable and truly you cannot mess this up. And as far as powder bronzers go, I have two. So the YSL powder bronzer I use every single day. I got the shade 2. I would definitely go down a shade in this because it's very pigmented. So I actually like that I got a lighter shade because I can build it up and I can't really mess it up. But if I had used 3, it's way too dark. The packaging is a literal 10 out of 10. YSL is killing it right now. And I just love that it doesn't have shimmer in it. It's not chunky, it's not thick, it's not muddy, so highly recommend this. And then Hung Van Go, same situation. I have the shade here Straightforward. Now I can use the shade up, but I have to be more careful. This is such a nice thin formula. Again, there's no shimmer, but it doesn't look dry or flat. This reminds me sort of the Makeup by Mario reformulated bronzer, just very blurring and smooth, very lightweight. It's not powdery or dusty. So I like to have a lighter shade and really build it up. That way I don't have to worry about, you know, applying too much and then kind of panicking to blend it. Moving on to blush, which is one of my favorite categories. I do have some that I think may surprise you. So I didn't know how I felt about these until I used these a few times. And I have to say that I love these ABH Trio blushes. So there's only 3 colors. I have 2, I purchased these. My favorite has to be the pink variation. I'm wearing it today and I just kind of swirl my brushes in. It gives me the most gorgeous baby doll cheeks. If you like that like baby doll look, there's 3 different colors in here. So you have more of like a warm, a lilac, and then a neutral. This is a drier formula, very pigmented. This is one that you could put over powder. It's not gonna give you any glow or dewiness, but I think it's a nice switch up. I just feel like we were like bombarded with like super glowy and dewy. Now we're swinging back to like the 2016 sort of vibe, and that's what this is. Very easy to blend, but definitely for those of you that like a punchy blush, which is myself. And then if you do want a really gorgeous baby pink, I have to shout this out. This is the 4MO2 Makeup Forever Crayon Stick. I love this for the lips, the cheeks. You can use this just anywhere. I put a little bit on my lips today, and this shade in particular, there's just something so beautiful about this. It's kind of like the Dior blush, but in a stick form. And this formula is right in the middle. It has a little bit of that like hydration, but as you buff it out, you get more of that like soft sort of matte look. So not quite as matte as the ABH, a middle ground, but there's something really special about this shade. Like this shade in particular is always in my top drawer. It's kind of like an add-on or a mixing product for me, and I really, really love it. So I wanted to mention that. And if you do want more of a matte whipped sort of blush, these really surprised me. The Too Faced Cloud Crush liquid blushes. Now these are whipped, so they are, again, more on the matte side, and they do just really blur the skin out. I wasn't a huge fan of the powder Cloud Crush blushes. I know a lot of people like them, but I don't know. I just didn't love the formula, but these are very, very, very blendable, really nice. And they have this like thin texture that as you soften them out, I don't know how to describe it. It goes to like this soft matte kind of blurred blush look, just very, very pretty. So I have really been enjoying these, and I found that I can also put these on the lips as well. And of course I had to mention my Armani Luminous Silk Cheek Tints. Now I only recommend and love the original. They do have a luminous finish. They were nice, but they didn't become like top picks. But I use these so much it's sick. I put them on my lips, my face, I mix them. I love the bold pink, and I also have a coral peachy one I can't find right now, but I've used these so much so that I actually purchased a backup to have one in my purse and then one in my drawer. Just a very, very thin formula, very buildable. Again, it's not sticky, it's not greasy. It has that like healthy glow, but I wouldn't say these are like a dewy kind of finish. So just stunning. I really, really wish they'd come out with more shades. And then one powder blush, it's this specific color in the Ilia Soft Focus, and this is Closer. So this has just enough of that kind of glowy finish that it just makes you look awake and just really healthy, but it doesn't really like say, whoa, here's my pores. I like this shade way more than other colors I tried, and I did purchase 3 of these. Some of them seem to be a little bit too glowy and the shade just didn't work for me, but there's something about this one that just kind of like brightens up my face without making my texture look enhanced. So this one in particular, the shade Closer, I love this. It's always in my top drawer. For highlighters, I'm still loving the original Dior Backstage Glow Palette in Universal. Now I know they reformulated these. I don't know because I haven't tried the new one, and I really hope they didn't change it, because this is one of my most used highlighters. I did pick up 2 of the new shades, and I do actually like the rose gold one. I would still recommend this over that though, but I did think about including it because even though it has a little bit of glitter, I think it is really pretty on the skin, but I'm still gonna stand by this is the best. And then again, Dior, just really giving it to me. The holiday highlighter is so beautiful. I'm absolutely loving this. It is what I'm wearing today. I love that it can be built up, so you can do kind of like a sheer natural glow, or you can really make this pop, and it's not dusty, it's not flying all over. It just really is stunning. It doesn't leave like that stripe on your skin or a shadow when you look forward. The packaging is so beautiful. So I have to say, Dior really does it for me with the highlighters. And before we move on to eyes, I have 3 face palettes that I wanted to shout out. So the first one has to be the YSL palette. Now, I own some of these blushes already, but I still think this is such a gorgeous palette. The price point on this to get 3 blushes and 3 highlighters is incredible, plus the packaging is stunning. This keeps going in and out of stock, which I totally get why, and I love these shades right here. This is my favorite, which is Restless Rose. So it has that kind of glowy look to it. It's like a satin formula, very buttery and soft, and then there is a matte shade in here as well. The highlighters I don't love as much as I love the blushes, but I do still find that they give me a nice kind of glow to the cheeks. They're more of a hard pressed formula, but overall this is a standout to me. I think this is such a great way to try the YSL blushes without breaking the bank, and then also getting to try both the matte and the satin formula. I think that's just an amazing gift. And then I also have to shout out the Hourglass palette. For me personally, I like the Deer one, and that's kind of surprising because I thought I was gonna like the Swan. I felt like the Swan was a little bit too glowy and textured, and it made my cheeks just look kind of, I don't know, porous, if you will. This is much more my speed. Again, I like to be able to build up, even if the bronzer is too light for me, I can really like build it up and I don't have to worry about messing it up. And then these blushes are just up my alley. I will say that the pink is definitely lighter, so you have to really build it up, but I am okay with that. And for me, every day, when I want more of a natural look, that's when I'm gonna reach for Hourglass. I usually don't have like full glam on, maybe not my self tan, so the lighter palette is just truly the best for me. And then this one's still showing available, so I wanted to mention it. This is the Hot Escape cheek palette from NARS. I don't know how long this is gonna be on there, but if you want buttery beautiful highlighters, these are so pretty. And then if you like a baby doll cheek, think like, again, the Dior, but I would say this one is just a little bit more like purple hued. So stunning, so soft and creamy. I know this came in like 3 colorways, and I think only like 2 are available now. So definitely recommend this if you like these type of shades. The formulas in here are really nice. Moving on to eyes, I have quite a few products that I wanted to talk about. Lots of liners, which is really different for me, but let's start with eyeshadow. Now I know this is polarizing, but I have to say that I love this Makeup by Mario Nature Ethereal Eyes palette. I love this, and I know that people were disappointed because the shimmers in here aren't like his other palettes. They're not glitter, they're not as intense, but I have this shade on my lids right now, and I think it is just so pretty. It's very sparkly, but it's very fine. It's not chunky, and I think it's perfect for every day. So I don't have a problem with these shimmers because I do have some other like toppers and just different formulas in my collection that I could reach for if I want something more intense. The thing about these mattes is they are perfection. They blend themselves. They're so beautiful, and I love the range that you get in here. Truly maybe one of the easiest matte formulas to work with that I've ever tried. So if you want super glittery, glitzy glam, this is probably not gonna be the one for you. But if you like what I'm wearing today and you're okay with like a softer kind of scattered glittery shimmer, I think you would like this. Now, if you want some more like bam in your face, I have 2 things that I have to recommend. So let's start off with the Danessa Myricks because whoa, this is incredible. I don't know if I've ever tried anything quite like this. So these are the duos, and on one side you have a foil, and then on the other side you have a metallic. The foils do not play, okay? This is the metallic on one of these, and then this is the foil. So insanely metallic and high shine and glittery. And I love that this formula is so thin. It's not a liquid, so you don't have to worry about it like sticking down or moving anything underneath it. So I can actually take my finger and just grab a little bit of the sparkle. This is like my preferred method. And if I wanted to add it to an eye look, I can just build it up from there. And if you want a scattered look, you can get that. But if you want like more intensity, you can just keep going. And when the light hits these, you guys, it is no joke. These are incredible. I'm telling you, incredible. If you need a glitter in your life, or if you love glitter, you really want something that's going to like make people say, wow, this is it. Truly 100% worth the money. And then if you want something that's more of a, I guess, powder, but you like that glittery look, I know people are gonna be like, no, but I have to say the Patrick Ta toppers, if you get the right shades, are 10 out of 10. So I have 2 new shades here. This is Always on Your Mind. So incredibly glittery and sparkly, both of these shades. This is more of like a taupey gunmetal. And then In Your Dreams, I'm gonna get a ton of use out of. Now, if you already own the original Patrick Ta palettes, these are a little bit more like BAM glittery, and they're a little bit softer, a little bit dustier, I would say, but you're gonna get a similar vibe if you've ever tried his palettes. You get that like sparkle, really intense topper look. So I know these are expensive, but I do believe that if you like a really intense glitter topper, you will not be disappointed with these 2 shades. And then if you like mattes like I do, I have to recommend both of these palettes. These are the new Ethereal Edit, Essential Ethereal, I don't know what they're called. The Essential Artistry Edit. You know, the names are getting out of control. The 6 pan mattes. So this is the lighter version. I will say if you like more cooler tones, more neutral cool, go for the light if you're in my kind of wheelhouse in terms of skin tone. And if you like warmer tones, go for the medium. So I actually started out with the medium today. I was gonna do all matte, and then I was like, you know what? I want a little bit of sparkle. So I just dipped into that Makeup by Mario to get those sparkles. But this formula is super blendable, very pigmented, and I love that it has a nice range. So you can kind of use this for your brow bone, your crease shade, and then go from there all the way up to doing like a winged liner. I just think this formula is absolutely stunning. I really love this formula and the Makeup by Mario and Natasha Denona. Those are like my top 3 if you were to ask me in terms of palettes. So I'm gonna mention or link a couple more palettes down below, but these are like the newer ones that I find myself keeping top drawer, and every time I use them, I'm happy with the way they look. And to finish off the eyes category, shockingly, I have 3 eyeliners to mention. They're all incredible. So I have to shout out Hung Van Gogh. He really did such a beautiful launch. And these liners are so beautiful. So the Longwear eyeliner is very, very similar to the Marc Jacobs. If you ever use those, very pigmented, very thin, and I'm telling you, it doesn't move. I'm actually wearing this as a wing on my eyes right now, and I like that I can use a brush and work off the tip and really get that precise wing, but I have a smidge of playtime. So this is great for the waterline, or if you wanna do a kind of structured wing, just very, very, very pigmented, long wearing, really is very similar to the Marc Jacobs. And if you want more of a smudge option, he really did an amazing formula. This is the Soft Velvet. This one is what I would use if I wanted a smoky wing. So if I wanted to smudge on the lash line, it is just truly so easy to work with. You can build it up. It doesn't like dry down and grab in certain areas or get chunky. Truly, truly fabulous. I want to pick up another shade, so I have to recommend these. And then if you want a smoky wing, but you like a chubbier stick, I've talked about this, but the Urban Decay Senescent eyeshadow cream stick is so good. Now this, very similar, I would say, in the way it works to the Soft Kohl from Hung Van Gogh. I feel like I'm I'm all over the place, you guys. My brain's like, woo, I'm trying to keep it together, but I feel like a train wreck. So I don't know what I'm doing, playing drums or what, but what just happened? I don't even know. So the Urban Decay eyeshadow cream stick, it is just very, very, very blendable, but it sets down and it doesn't move. It's maybe a little bit more buildable than this eyeliner from Hung Van Gogh. So if you want like a smoky outer V, you could use this, but I've used this too many times to count as a smoky wing. I just really love all three of these. It's very, very rare for me to mention even one eyeliner in these videos. So I'm really surprised that when I was pulling my products, I actually had 3 standout formulas in the eyeliner category. Now let's talk about lip products. I have quite a few, so I want to move quickly because I feel like I've been here forever. So I still have to recommend the Ole Henriksen. I just love this before bed. This is what I've been using as of recently. This is the strawberry, and I do want to pick up one of the new shades, I think, or the new flavors. It's like vanilla, but very, very thick. So if you don't like sticky, I don't know if you would like this, but really coats the lips, gives you really good hydration. So this is like my go-to if my lips truly need hydration and they just feel like they're super dry. And then I've been loving this Laneige. This is limited edition, but it has sparkles in it. And this is in the pink Supernova. I just think this is so fun for holiday. And I've been wearing this a lot with a lip liner stain and then no other makeup. It just gives me a really nice like glossy look to the lips, and the shimmer is subtle but noticeable. So I really, really like this. And if I had one recommendation, I'm going to say it one more time, okay? The Wise Beauty Lip Balm Gloss, whatever this is called, truly so stunning. If you want something that is going to give you high shine, but it's going to give you a hint of color that's just going to blend in beautifully and really kind of waken up your face. I'm telling you, if your makeup is wearing off, if you're out and about and you're like, oh my God, my lipstick is gone, throw one of these on and just use your finger, and truly it just brings your face to life. I cannot rave about these enough. They don't have a scent, they don't have a taste. I love the applicator as well. It's just really nice and slippy on the lips. If I had to choose, my most used would be Class Act, but truly I am so in love with these. They sent me one, I bought the rest of them, and if they came out with more colors, they'd be in my cart as well. Speaking of lip liner stains, I have to give it to Huda Beauty. These are so nice if you want just like no makeup, or if you want a base that's not going to wear off. Now, you know I'm the lip stain queen, and I like to put it in the center, but what I've been doing is putting my bright pink in the center and then using one of these again just to line around. My most used is baby pink. I will say that you do need to store it like this or it can get dry. I haven't noticed that with the brown shades, but I have noticed it with the two that I like the most, which are Rosewood and Baby Pink. I just like how these are buildable, they don't bleed, and once they set down, I mean, it's quick. So if you want to blend them out, you have to literally do it like right then, but they do last, and these are like my lips but better. So definitely loving those. And then in terms of lip liners, I am still loving 2 formulas that I've raved about a million times. The Anastasia Beverly Hills, there's 4 new shades. I'm wearing one of them right now. I think I'm wearing Cinnamon, but these are so beautiful if you want some like vampy or grungy colors. This formula is incredible. I would say it's a more blendable MAC, so not quite as dry as MAC, but it stays in place. I just absolutely love these, and the colors are truly endless. And then another favorite has to be Makeup by Mario. I've been using these for so long. Very, very creamy, but they set in place. Again, long lasting, very, very similar feel to the ABH. My most used is Travis, and these have a brush on the end so you can really kind of blend in if you'd like to. Typically, I just use my finger, but these are my top picks for liners right now. For lipstick, I still have to rave about my Anastasia Beverly Hills Lip Velvets. These are incredible if you like something that wears longer than a typical lipstick, but it's not like the flat, dry down matte. I find that less is more with these, so I like to just kind of swipe it on and then use my finger to blend it in. It has like that powdery sort of feel and just lasts a really long time. I love Kiss and I think Crush. I thought I ordered another Crush, but I think I duplicate ordered Kiss. So now I have multiples, but those are my most used. And I wish that there would be more shades just because I love this formula so much. So highly recommend those. I have literally like probably 8 shades. And then for a bullet lipstick, I have to shout out these Armani lipsticks. So they're not new, but I was going through my collection and I'm like, these I reach for all the time. They have a satin formula, so it's more of a hydrating, not quite as like matte, but it's not sticky or it's not like sliding all over. And then also a matte formula if you want something that is just a little bit, again, more of like that powdery feel, but very, very lightweight, not like a dry, shows every crack in your lips. So I really love these. And again, I purchased them all myself. And then if you want a little bit of sparkle, I do have to rave about this from YSL. This is their Holiday Candy Glaze. So pretty. It has this gorgeous like pink reflect on it, and this just makes your lips look so juicy. I just love this. I think everything from the packaging to the color, everything about this is truly the holidays in a lipstick, and I think it is absolutely stunning. And then moving on to lip glosses, I thought that I would just throw this in even though it's an oil, but again, the YSL lip oil in 100, I mean, this packaging for holiday is so pretty. Now I will say this does have plumping, so just be mindful. It has a really intense like fruity scent, but I love the just little bit of like, I don't know, it kind of reminds me of like MAC Oyster Girl or something. Gives you like this really pretty milky iridescence to the lips. And again, the packaging on these is so beautiful, but really just beautiful to put in the center of your lips. If you want a little bit of pizzazz, I think this is absolutely stunning. And then a pink gloss that I absolutely love, and I was thinking about, like, I don't know if I've ever raved about, but this is the Valentino Puffer Gloss. But in particular, this color is so gorgeous if you like a baby pink. It's truly like a Barbie pink, and it has this like gel sort of formula. So it's more of a like coating on the lips, but it just gives you that like milky baby doll pink look. So if you're like me and you're like, I can never find a pink gloss that actually shows up, this is it. And this has, I think, like a little bit of a minty sort of like refreshing feel to it. It's not painful by any means, but I think technically it is supposed to be like a plumping gloss. And the last gloss I have to shout out are the Dior Lip Maximizers, specifically the shade Coral, and I think this is like pink lilac. These are so beautiful. They're not sticky. They have a cooling feel to them. They don't hurt. I love this color. It is such a beautiful, like milky, kind of lilac purple, and it just adds a little bit of that haze onto any lip combo that you're wearing. Same thing with this one. If I feel like something's looking a little bit too cool toned, I will grab this to just kind of give me that wash. And I love that they're milky. They do have a lot of shades, like a lot that are maybe shimmery, more sheer, but those two are my most used. And then in terms of tools, I have one to mention, the Makeup by Mario F4. Truly, it is such a game-changing brush. You can do your foundation, concealer, cream bronzer, blush, everything with this brush. Absolutely love it. I purchased a few, so I have backups. If you already know that you like the BK Beauty 109, it's essentially like having 2 of those, although this side is a little bit fluffier. Just truly perfection. I absolutely love this. And then I almost forgot to mention this setting spray. So the One Size Powder Melt, top tier. Top tier. It is so beautiful. It's not sticky. It just melts your powder in and gives you a really pretty like dewy look without adding texture. I often spray this pretty much like everywhere but my T-zone. So I'll kind of like cover my T-zone and then really douse like my cheekbones and my forehead with it. And it truly just makes your skin look so glowy, but not sticky, heavy, textured, all of the things that you don't want. I think this was like out of stock, and I don't know if it's coming back or if they're like changing it up, but definitely recommend it. If it comes back in stock, you need to grab it. All right, guys, so I think that is everything for my Sephora sale recommendations. I'm gonna link everything down below, and I'm sure that I forgot a couple things. I just did my best to pull products, and I just want to say thank you again for all of your just kind words and just prayers and thoughts. So I wanted to get this video out nonetheless, and it did take my mind off things, which is good. So of course, I will link everything that I talked about down below, and I'll have it in order so it's easy for you to follow. I do want to know what you have on your list. What are you eyeing? What do you want to pick up? And have you tried any of these recommendations, or are you interested in trying them? I always love chatting with you guys in the comments. So if you did enjoy this video and you're excited about the Sephora sale, give this video a thumbs up. If you're new here, I hope you stick around and subscribe. I will have some hauls and other videos coming. So I think that is everything. As always, thank you guys again so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.